These are the interviews from Chat City on Preston FM. Don't forget, our show is live weekdays from 10 till noon. Tune in and become part of our family.
Frankie Mullen of Dovetail, you're about to lead a brand new project in Fishwick and St Matthews in Preston, but this isn't the first time you've had associations with Preston and heritage, is it?
No, Dovetail has been working in Preston for over 5 years now. We started with Give It a Go, the 5K challenge, which was all about developing sort of creative enterprise within local communities. And then for Guild Year, we did a large photography project called Preston People Panorama, through which we worked with thousands of Preston people to photograph the different groups that people identify themselves in as a commemorative and celebratory artistic project for Preston Guild, which was exhibited at the Museum of Lancashire.
So I first met you before Christmas 2013 when you were at an event called A Song in Seconds in the YMCA of all places. How did that project come about? Is it anything to do with the big local that's going on up in that area?
It is. We were awarded some of the quick win funding by the big local to have do a small project to have an initial look at the history of the Courtaulds factory, which used to be based on Red Scar, where Red Scar Business Park is now housed. And we used some of the very bright colours that had been created at the Courtaulds factory, which made rayon, to inspire a community song that was created by the composer and songwriter Claire Mooney with members of the local community about the history of Courtaulds in that area.
So what was it that drew Dovetail to that particular aspect of Preston's history?
We were approached because we've worked with heritage projects for a long time in Preston. We were approached by Alison Boyle, the author of From Pakistan to Preston, whose father worked at the Courtaulds factory, and she proposed to us that this was a history that hadn't really been explored and discussed as much as other parts of Preston's history. And she had some artifacts and from the factory that her father had collected that she wanted to really share more widely and encourage people to share their own stories and imagery and memorabilia from that time, from working at that time. So that was a project that really met with a lot of the aims of Dovetail. We believe very strongly in the power of knowing where you come from and your history in terms of how you look at the issues and opportunities that you have today. We feel it's very important for people to understand that history, and we like to respond to that level of interest, and there was a significant interest there. So that's how A Song in Seconds came about.
So that was a quick win project. The funding was attracted by the fact that Fishwick and St Matthews is going to be the beneficiary of a big lottery grant for the next 10 years. But if you tell us about this project that's about to happen in Preston for about the next 5 or 6 weeks, how does that link in with the bigger project and the communities of Fishwick and St Matthews?
I think this is a bigger project, is something that is funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund, because I think on the back of the Song in Seconds there was a real interest in broadening and deepening that history, and we had only really had a chance to do something in a very small way with the quick win from the big local. And yet this is a very, very significant history, and there are a lot of people who were connected to Courtaulds, as well as the fact that there are a lot of people in the area, particularly young people, who have no idea that this incredible factory, which had global significance in terms of what it was producing, actually was on their doorstep. I mean, it was a monolithic kind of huge building and plant, and we're using some new images that we've had permission from the works photographer of Courtaulds to use to show people actually what it was like in this bigger project. So this is we are still very connected to Friends of Fishwick and St Matthews, because clearly they are at a very particular point in their own history and they have this opportunity, and we're really keen jointly to also ensure that this looks to the future. So the new project we're starting, which is called Colours of the World Made in Preston, is about looking back at the past and sharing those memories, but it's also about learning about the past and also looking to the future and bringing people together to really share how they might work together in the future. And if that feeds into the big local as a byproduct of that, that's all to the better.
So this project kicks off this coming Saturday, doesn't it? The 17th of May at St Matthew's Mission on Acregate Lane. You want people to come and share stories or share memories, family memories of people who worked at Courtaulds, and they're going to be recorded either as an audio or a visual. And I actually know the person who's going to do that, because it's me, isn't it? This is going to give me loads of stuff to play on Preston FM. It's absolutely fabulous. So after 5 or 6 weeks, we're going to have a huge resource of audio and film which we need to pull together to bring these community groups together with shared experience.
Yeah, I think that's right. So after we're already picking up an awful lot of interest in this project, because as you know, this is a history that really a lot of people can relate to, and I think the starting event on Saturday is very much about, as well as it's about informing people. So you haven't you, Gary, created?
I have, dear listener.
A fantastic new resource to start the project off, which is a very lovely short film that actually gives the facts about Courtaulds. It uses you use some fantastic old film photography that's available through the Preston Local Archive, and you just narrate the story from the opening of Courtaulds in 1939 to its closure in 1980.
Well, what was important for me was to place it in the landscape as well, because people who weren't here in 1980, 81, 82 don't know where it was, and children definitely don't know where it was. So I've also filmed the present landscape with antique maps and photographs to place it in the landscape, so that when people drive past, they say that's where Courtaulds was. And that was important to me, that history still has a place in the memory, but physically in the modern environment. So that's what I did that for.
Yeah, I think to sort of bring that alive, as you're saying, the fact that it might seem quite a long time ago, but it's actually very recent past for a lot of people. So I think that idea of being able to recognise where it was, that kind of visual map really that you've provided in the film, I think will be really fascinating for people who either do have a connection with Courtaulds, but also for people who really have no idea about it and what it was and where it was, and so we're starting off really with that opportunity to, you know, give people that information, to share that through those resources and through photographs that we're bringing to that event. But it is, as you say, also an opportunity for people to bring their own objects or histories and stories we're particularly interested, just simply in stories about
they may not be pretty stories, might they?
They may not be pretty stories, and obviously in that period of time that, you know, some of the stories we've already heard through the Song in Seconds and through some of the contacts you've already made, they do talk about the conditions at the factory and the experience of working there, and that some of that was quite tough. Some of it depended particularly on whereabouts in the factory you might have been working. We're working with a local historian, Anand D. Ramamurthy, who's very interested in the fact that there was a strike by Asian workers in 1965 in the spinning department of the factory. She would particularly like to hear from Asian families and workers who remember that strike and were part of that. So we're really looking for, it's about uncovering the whole history, and it's not about looking at this through rose-tinted spectacles. There were real ways in which Preston, you know, can celebrate this as it was a very significant part of Preston's history. That doesn't mean it was all a bed of roses, because it certainly wouldn't have been at that time, we think, from what we're hearing so far. So we're interested in whatever stories and experiences people have. It's an opportunity to share them if you'd like to.
And the call out is initially for this Saturday, the 17th of May at Acregate Lane, St Matthew's Mission, 2 till 4. You're nodding in agreement, so we're both right. And the plea is just, if you've any links with Courtaulds, come along.
It is.
Talk to us.
Or if you just want to find out more and you don't feel you've got a link with Courtaulds, but you want to hear about this and find out more, then we'd love to see you there. It's all ages. It's completely free, obviously, and there's refreshments. And as I say, it's an opportunity just to really start this project off.
And then after that, you've got more events coming up, which just briefly are. We're working with Preston
Gujarat Hindu Society, who are doing an oral history session, and there's already 30 people signed up for that. That's been run by Ishwa Taylor. We've got a Muslim workers group which is being facilitated by Zul Hussain, who's based at YMCA. We're also going back to the music roots that we started with the Song in Seconds. We're working with Claire Mooney to develop some new songs, new works in response to this history through a series of community singing and songwriting workshops. Everyone is welcome to those. Bring an instrument and have one. Don't worry if you haven't. It's an opportunity to take part.
Those are in June. It's the 4th and the 11th.
June, the 4th and the 11th.
Hey, what a memory.
Fine. We finished the project with a fantastic community celebration of this work, really, this journey that we'll all have been on, where all of the histories in the film and the oral histories, the songs, the visual art will all be exhibited on June the 21st, 2 till 4. That's also at St Matthew's Mission, and that will be an opportunity for it to sort of reflect on this heritage.
Right, so this is just the first of several updates for Preston FM listeners about this project. The key thing is it's this Saturday, the 17th of May, 2 till 4, St Matthew's Mission, AKK Lane. Will you be there?
Of course, I'll be there, and I'll be, we're really excited to meet anyone who wants to come and take part in this. And once obviously you come along, we'll make sure that you're on our mailing list, and make sure that you receive regular updates about the project and how you can take part.
If you've got news, views or events you'd like to share with us and the Chat City team, why not give us an email, chatcity@preston.fm.